Hi, my name's Daryl, and here's your Jeep news for April 9th. So in my first news story, let's look at tariffs again. And Yahoo's been doing a great job of looking at the tariffs and how it's actually going to affect auto manufacturers. This is how auto manufacturers would have to spread out the average cost of tariffs per automobile. And so if we look at Stellantis, that's going to be $4,727 per vehicle. Tesla is actually least affected, only $1,627. But you probably think Tesla wouldn't be affected at all because of their integrated kind of parts suppliers, and also they make them in the United States, but yet they still are affected. Now, the worst auto manufacturers that are affected are Tata Motors. They're actually Jaguar, and they make the Land Rover, and Geely, which is actually Volvo. And look at how much they would have to spread that tariff cost around. Just amazing. Toyota is actually in not great shape as well, but Ford, Rivian, Subaru are kind of least affected in regards to the US manufacturers. Let's look at this other graph, and this one talks about who has the biggest exposure. So vehicles that are sold in the United States, and how much of that manufacturing is done in the United States. And so people that are in worse shape are at the top of the list. And so, yeah, Volvo is up there, Mazda is up there, Volkswagen is up there, Honda is actually up there pretty high. Stellantis is actually towards the bottom. Look at GM. GM has 52% of the vehicles that they sell in the US, only 52% are actually manufactured in the US. And Stellantis is at 57%, so actually a little bit better. Of course, Tesla's down at the bottom of that list. And this last graph is showing you, based on the vehicle assembly, as well as the imported parts, how much of a percentage they would have to charge in addition to cover those tariffs. And so Stellantis for the vehicle assembly would have to charge an additional 8.1%, and for imported parts they would have to charge 5.8%. So of course Tesla 0%, 1.8%, so those are the imported parts that they're going to have to pay. Ford is in pretty good shape. Look at that Honda. That's pretty amazing. Honda is actually in really good shape. Stellantis is sitting just above Honda, and Toyota's in pretty bad shape, and Hyundai, yeah, Hyundai, Kia, they're going to be in real bad shape. So really some interesting graphs there. We don't really know what's going to happen with the tariffs long term, but some real interesting information there. Another interesting article, Mopar Insiders found this, and it was actually on a lot of the other news sources, and it talks about how Stellantis is preparing to help their suppliers with the cost of tariffs. So it's really important that Stellantis continues to make automobiles, and a lot of the parts that they use in making their automobiles come from outside the United States. And so they're putting together a plan to help part suppliers offset the cost of these tariffs. Now, it doesn't say if they're going to do the entire amount or a certain percentage. I think they have to do some qualification, and they have to, and also one of the things that is part of the qualifying criteria is that they're looking at, kind of moving some of that production to the United States. But, Stellantis doesn't want to be hurt by the lack of supply and have it impact their manufacturing of automobiles, because we all remember what happened during COVID and how, we had the chip shortage and all kinds of shortages in regards to parts, and that affected the auto industry terribly. And so Stellantis is trying to do some things to make sure that that doesn't happen. So good news there. In some other information, this comes from our friends at Mopar Insiders as well. They're talking about pausing production at the Warren manufacturing plant. Now, the Warren manufacturing plant is kind of for trucks, but they make the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer there. Now, the reason that they're stopping the Warren assembly plant is because they have a shortage of the Hurricane Inline 6 engine. So that Hurricane engine goes into currently the Wagoneer, the Grand Wagoneer, and the Ram 1500, and I think that's it. It's going to go into the Dodge Daytona, I think starting like in May. The Dodge Daytona with the Inline 6 is going to be supposedly hitting dealerships in June. And I don't know if it's because of the fact that they were shipping so many of those Inline 6 sixes across the border just to make sure that they can get them here prior to May 3rd. I think when that that cost for tariffs of parts coming into the United States was going to go into effect. But yeah, so I guess the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, they probably have additional inventory, maybe not so much on the Ram 1500, so they're prioritizing manufacturing of the Ram 1500 versus the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. So if you are in the market for a Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer and you're looking for a specific color, might not be available for just a little while. And in my last news story, this is about the Ramcharger, and this comes from Mopar Insiders again. I guess they were out shopping, and they found, Robert did with his daughter, they found a Ram 1500 sitting there just kind of idling, and the Pentastar V6 engine was running and charging the battery. So I found that very interesting. He was actually asked in the comments, what did it sound like? He was like, sounds like a Pentastar V6, so real interesting. This was actually the Laramie edition, as opposed to, I think before we saw the Tungsten, the very top of the line, so this was kind of more in the middle of the line. You know, I'm hoping that, you know, one of the subjects of discussion has been what the cost of that Ramcharger is, and I have a deposit down for one, and I plan on getting one, as long as the costs just aren't totally outrageous. So I was, you know, planning on getting just the base trim, really as low as it could go, because I'm really interested in the drivetrain and towing, so I don't need a whole lot of bells and whistles. So I was hoping to get something probably in the low 60s, but we'll see what happens. If it's anything more than that, so if they were talking about it being $78,000 for the base trim, there's no way I can get it. But anyway, so really interesting information there. Yeah, and they also have a YouTube channel, and it's called the Mopar Junkie. So Robert, he's one of the editors there at Mopar Insiders, and so he, a lot of times, whenever they do a story on Mopar Insiders, he'll create an accompanying video, so that's pretty cool. This is Daryl with your Jeep News, and I hope to see you in the next one again very soon.